questions, sharing some news about Roman Reigns and the Payback card, and having a little bit of a celebration for the fact that I hit 10,000 followers on Twitter, which is insane amount of people. I never thought I would hit that amount, I tell you that much. So I've got to say a huge thank you to a lot of people for that one. A lot of people have come together and really helped me to reach that point. I am just going to drop the link to this in Twitter so that anybody on the Twitter sphere who wants to watch can do so, and I will jump straight into the preview as soon as we start getting some people in. As usual here, if you have any questions, please do ask them in the chat. I answer pretty much every question. Anything I don't, there is a reason for it. If you're a first-time viewer, remember to subscribe and hit like. So let's have a look at what's going on for SmackDown tonight. So the big news, of course, is the return of Roman Reigns and the Universal title picture. The Fiend Bray Wyatt did win the championship over Braun Strowman, and this is one of many reasons that I believe Bray Wyatt will be retaining for the triple threat at Payback. Hello Floodwater, welcome. When it comes to Roman, it is a contract signing tonight. It is expected to get physical between Roman and Braun Strowman, but not necessarily get physical with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is supposedly going to be a little bit more detached from the rest. It'll be interesting how a contract signing goes in the Thunderdome as well. There are believed to be some interesting ways that they plan to use the format, not just when it comes to people popping and throwing some tables about. Roman will have promo time. He is likely to open the show, so I am looking forward to this. The actual match for Payback is going to be the main event. It is no holds barred, even though all triple threats are apparently no DQ anyway, so why would you have any holds be barred? It's an interesting one. Also means that for triple threats, rope breaks don't actually count. They never really factor that in, do they? Strange one. So yes, tonight we will get an introduction from Roman. Thank you, Screen Critic, for your congratulations. I said Stream Critic there. I believe you do game streams as well, so that might be something to do with that. Thank you very much. It was a huge moment. And yes, just as a final note on Roman Reigns, he has a lot that he wants to say. Just a lot. So we can definitely expect to see that. AK Ray said, will we see an IC title match at Payback? Yes, I'm expecting we will see an IC title match at Payback. I'm expecting it will be a rematch between AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy. The seeds will be planted tonight on SmackDown when AJ Styles will be demanding a rematch and saying that Jeff Hardy cheated to win due to the knee brace. They will push the narrative that Jeff Hardy is not fully fit and fully healed, but he will wrestle anyway and likely retain. We need more pyro, says name's Nathan. Welcome, Nathan. I really think the match will end in a non-finish somehow. I don't know how that's possible, but I also thought that about Hell in a Cell last year, so. Oh, welcome, Lakshay. Happy to see you. Flood asks, why are we getting 2 pay-per-views back-to-back? Not they have an issue with it. I've answered this on almost every stream, so I'm actually getting really streamlined with it. Payback was initially designed as an overflow pay-per-view. Payback was not formally announced before Roman Reigns' return, but the reason for the show is not Roman Reigns' return. It is an overflow pay-per-view so that they could move matches there that they didn't want to have on the SummerSlam main card. SummerSlam, they were determined to keep it at around 3 hours because they worry that people are getting bored of longer wrestling shows. Good morning, noob. Welcome. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon here, so not quite good morning for me, but a good morning to you. Lakshay says, what's your thoughts on the Lee's entrance and his match with Orton? His match with Orton was very good for the brief time that it lasted, and I expect Payback to be much better. When it comes to the entrance, that's something that Keith Lee chose. He was willing to do that. He confirmed the attire as well. So it's not pushed by him, but it is accepted by him. AK Ray said, AEW or NXT better show this week? This week I have to go with NXT personally. There were some big moments in it, not least their opening angle. When it came to AEW, there was a lot of very good wrestling. I feel the main event needed a little bit more time, even though it had quite a lot of blood. Can't argue blood. But overall, I think I would just give it to NXT this week. However, next week we will see, because a 60-minute Iron Man match between 4 of the top guys NXT has ever had AEW are going to have to do something to compete with that. Back to the SmackDown preview. Ooh. Right. In the women's title scene, there is a lot going on. Mostly that there aren't immediate challenges to Bayley, but Naomi definitely has stepped up previously and should be in with a shot here. Naomi, I want to see challenging for it. However, Mandy Rose has also moved into contention in a recent interview, confirmed that she is going to be moving into the women's title scene. I have been reporting this for a couple of weeks, that after Mandy Rose won at SummerSlam, the plan was very much to move her into that championship picture. Naomi now, because of the support she's got, could be moving into it, but Mandy Rose is still the favourite to be beating Bayley and taking the championship. There is also a likelihood that we may see Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax appear as they continue to push the women's tag team titles. That is something I can definitely see happening. Nubenco says, do you think we see Shayna and Nia get broken up come Payback because we might see a challenger for Asuka? I believe we will see Shayna Baszler challenge Asuka next. However, I also think they're going to win the women's tag team championships. So I'm not sure who the next challenger is going to be for Asuka. Maybe it'll be someone like Ruby Riott or Liv Morgan or Natalya. Natalya, I feel, will suit that quite well at the moment. Maybe Mickie James. That'd be a good match. Or we could have some call-ups. There are a number of people who could challenge Asuka in a losing but still being put over capacity. So I hope they are planning to do that. Like Shay says, who are you backing on the Fatal 4-Way Iron Man match? I'm backing Finn Balor. I think one of the reasons we are seeing Kyle O'Reilly tease a split from the Undisputed Era is because he may not wish to come up to the main roster when the rest of the Undisputed Era do, even though the WWE want to bring them all up as one unit. If someone wants to stay in NXT, and this may be due to safety concerns at the moment, they should be permitted to do that. And I think that should also be true of Raw and SmackDown. When it comes to a draft, it's time that the WWE started respecting which show people want to be on. I think Finn Balor will be winning this. Adam Cole, I think after this and after Payback, will be being moved up, as it were. I think the fact that he is in this match teases it might be to SmackDown rather than Raw. AK, yes, I agree. I believe Finn Balor is going to win that one. Finn Balor's in a very unique position in NXT, whereby he can do pretty much anything and become a champion at any point. And it's not even that big a deal because we expect as much from someone like Finn Balor, who has done so much. John says, as much as I love Adam Cole, I don't see them putting the title back on him after just losing it months ago. It was about a month ago that he lost it, and I personally agree. I don't think we will see him win this match. AK Ray says, just give me Kyle O'Reilly versus Timothy Thatcher in a submission match. That is an exciting prospect. Maybe for Drew Gulak in there as well. It could be very exciting. Timothy Thatcher has certainly opened a lot of doors for a very specific style that he has and he offers. So, exciting prospects there. Going back to the SmackDown preview, I did mention earlier that I expect there to be a rematch between AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy for the Intercontinental Championship at Payback. I still expect to see that happen. This is one of the matches I think we will see added to the Payback card. So it will be a rematch. AJ Styles will essentially state that Jeff Hardy has cheated his way to a victory, and the rematch will be set with the narrative teased that Jeff Hardy is not fully fit. That is what I expect to see tonight. I don't expect to see the two men come to blows once again, but I do believe there will be a quite deep promo segment. This will also be the first night that they test a new system with the Thunderdome, whereby you are likely to see a lot of the same people in the front rows, and particularly on the hard cam side. They have a few people who've been at every show so far via the Thunderdome, and those people will get preferential treatment going forwards. This is a way that they will try and prevent anything from changing on those screens to something that they do not want to be appearing on those screens. They still have the production team and certain PR producers keeping track of what is going on. They will have to keep track of less screens if they can have trusted people on the front row. So that is a plan going forwards. In addition, one match I expect to see added will be a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, again a rematch, between Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro and the Lucha House Party. This, I think, is maybe the last match I expect to see added. I think we may see Naomi Bayley added as well, but I think will be all from the SmackDown side to keep it 6 or maybe 7 matches similar to SummerSlam, with the main event being the triple threat. Nakamura and Cesaro won pretty handily last time, but with the fact that there are 3 members of the Lucha House Party, it is very possible now that the Lucha House Party will simply change the people that they send out there, and thus they will have a rematch based on that. I think essentially they're just filling time, and I think Heavy Machinery will be the next one to challenge Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro with a good chance of winning. I think the Money in the Bank cash-in will not come for a long time, so I think going into the tag scene, they need Heavy Machinery right now. Lakshay says, what are your thoughts on the return of Bad News Barrett? I think it's a very interesting way of doing things. I'm glad that they reached out to someone unique, someone who can tease being a member or in fact a leader of Retribution, and someone who has a lot of history with the NXT concept. It was just a one-time gig to essentially cover for Mauro Ranallo being unavailable, so I don't expect we'll see him too often going forwards, but he has been moved to the NXT alumni, which means he could do more with the company. I expect we may see a sort of mini Legends contract in his future. John says, my pick is Ciampa to win, so that when Cross returns, we get Cross Ciampa for the title. That would mean Tommaso Ciampa being undefeated for about 8 months to a year. That's why I don't think it's likely. Flood says, when do you see Otis cashing in? Michael Latina also says, do you think Otis will be cashing in successfully? I don't think Otis will be cashing in successfully. I think he is simply too far removed from the depth in that top level. I don't think we will see Otis standing a chance against someone like a Roman Reigns, a Braun Strowman, or a Bray Wyatt anytime in the future. It's possible he may get involved in this triple threat, but I just don't see it. I just don't. When I see him cashing in, long time, possibly closer to WrestleMania than now. They are waiting for a cash in before they intend to tease it all too much. It's one of the reasons Otis hasn't been featured as heavily. Okay. The Alexa Bliss storyline involving The Fiend and Braun Strowman is expected to continue. This is one of many reasons that I expect Bray Wyatt will be retaining, because it is expected to continue, but it was pushed to one side to make room for the return of Roman Reigns. Tonight, I expect we will see some tease of a reunion between Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, and the end result of this will be at least some form of tag match, but it won't be long term. It won't be a getting back together, because they still have story to tell here. So after Payback, we will see the storyline properly revisited, but Alexa Bliss is expected to be on TV and in some capacity with Nikki Cross tonight. Like Shay says, Retribution doesn't attack Seth on Raw, so it means they are only against face superstars and not against heel. Not necessarily. Seth did manage to run away, and it may just be that Retribution are being opportunists. I think they are planning to make them a heel faction, but we will see. There are a number of people who've been involved who have been faces in the past, or at least are faces now, who have been under those masks so far. But I think they're planning to debut a lot of people who maybe the audience doesn't recognize all too much. It's similar to when DDP came back as The Undertaker's wife's stalker. It's not great in that regard, but it is there. AK Ray says Austin Theory returned on NXT and not under Seth Rollins' team. That is correct. Austin Theory was out for a while. There is still some form of investigation underway. I expect that now he's returned, it will be that the investigation is sort of, we are informed at some point during an interview that the investigation found nothing. That is what I expect to hear. There was a time when there was definite concern that Austin Theory would not retain his job. However, he has returned to NXT as a way of kind of keeping him out of the public eye, which I get. It's just a shame that at the moment there are quite a few people in NXT who are being kept out of the public eye. Right. Big E will also get a match tonight on SmackDown. He doesn't look like he's planned to be pushed towards Bray Wyatt anytime soon, which is a real shame. However, it could be that if AJ Styles regains the Intercontinental Championship, we do see that. Outside of that, I'm not sure where there is to go for Big E. He's beaten Sheamus, he's beaten The Miz, he's beaten Morrison. Those are big names, but it's more than likely we'll see a rematch against Sheamus tonight. Like Shay says, seriously, you believe Jon Moxley is the number one wrestler right now? According to PWI, he is. The PW 100, in fact, was it 500? PW 500 came out yesterday, and honestly, yes, I do believe Jon Moxley is the number one wrestler right now. while he may be, you may be able to argue that he's not the best in-ring performer, and I think he's extremely good, as has been shown recently in particular, I do think there is more to being a wrestler than being the absolute pinnacle in the ring. There is storytelling, there is overall impact, and he is the biggest name in AEW, despite the fact that they have Chris Jericho, despite the fact they have Kenny Omega. The heat behind his arrival in AEW was incredible, and there is no doubt in my mind that he is deserving of the #1 status. I also think Bayley really shot up and fully deserved it. AK Ray says, can they form an Aussie team with Bronson Reed, Shane Thorne and Rhea Ripley? They don't need to, so I don't think they will. Michael Latina says, any news on how long Charlotte will be out? Not much longer. She is back training. They are just at the moment preparing storylines for her. So I would not expect it to be too long before Charlotte returns, and we will see a Charlotte versus Asuka match soon. It might be that they start planning that after Payback, and this may be why Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, who both could have been contenders against Asuka, have been pushed into a tag team. There are a lot of last-minute changes coming, and a lot of this is down to shock returns. A lot. Manny Santos says, hello. Hello, Manny. Welcome. AK Ray says, not a single women's wrestler in top 25. Who should be, in your opinion? In my opinion, Bayley should be there, Asuka should be there, and Sasha Banks should be there. Outside of that, Rhea Ripley's in with a shout. She's done incredible things recently, but those top three who've been on almost every show, they deserve to be at the very pinnacle. Mandy says, any idea on what's next for Mandy Rose? We see her start a new feud tonight. Not tonight, because Bayley still has a match at Payback, but I expect we will see Mandy Rose stepping up to Bayley and competing for the SmackDown Women's Championship sooner rather than later. I have mentioned that in a couple of these streams, that my expectation is we will see Mandy Rose, now that she has vanquished Sonya Deville, moving into the championship picture. Okay, that's everything for my preview, and I don't have many questions coming in. Please do remember to click like on the video if you would like more. On the Sportskeeda Facebook tonight, immediately after SmackDown, I will be joined by my colleague Rick Uccino. We will be doing a post show that will also be live on Sportskeeda's YouTube channel, which you can check out if you search Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube. After that, it will be tomorrow at 11 p.m. my time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be live on Twitch for Backstage Heat. If you haven't followed there so far, please do. We do full 2-hour shows, cover a lot of different topics, and there is a lot of news that I discuss there. In the meantime, that is everything I have for you today. Thank you very much to everyone watching, everyone who clicked like, everyone who asked a question. Thank you very much, and I will see you